On the first night of the full moon in June, a strange garden appeared at the edge of the old forest. No one planted it, no one cared for it, but for one night it bloomed. They called it the Garden of Forgotten Lovers. People who walked through its gates saw the faces of those they once loved and lost. Some cried, some smiled, and some ran away. Most never spoke of what they saw. Daniel had never heard of the garden until he moved to the village of Eldenbrook. He came to escape the noise of the city, the pain of a broken heart, and the feeling that something was missing in his life. He bought a small cottage and lived quietly. He painted, read books, and took long walks in the wood. One evening, an old man at the village store whispered to him, "You should visit the garden tomorrow night." Daniel laughed. "I don't believe in fairy tales." The man's eyes were serious. "It's not a fairy tale. The garden remembers who you forgot." Curious, Daniel went to the edge of the forest the next night. The moon was full, and the soft light shone on the trees. To his surprise, it was a wide, glowing gate covered in flowers. Beyond it, a garden bloomed with strange glowing plants. The air smelled of roses and rain. He stepped inside. At first, he saw nothing unusual, just flowers and vines. Then, the mist thickened. Shapes began to form. Faces of couples holding hands, lovers kissing, some crying in silence. And Daniel walked even deeper. And then he saw her. Daniel saw a young woman in a white dress, standing beneath a silver tree. Her hair was long and dark. Her eyes were deep and sad. She looked right at him. Daniel froze. He didn't know her, but she smiled softly, like she had waited a long time. "You came," she said. "Do I know you?" Daniel asked. "My name is Eliana," she whispered. "You don't remember, but we loved each other long ago." Daniel shook his head. "I've never met you." "Not in this life," she said, "but before." His heart beat faster. He wanted to turn and leave, but something in her voice kept him still. Eliana walked closer and said to him, "Let me show you." She reached out and touched his hand. The garden around them spun like wind, and suddenly Daniel saw flashes and images like dreams. He saw a field under a blue sky where he and Eliana were laughing. And finally, a promise made under a tree with a saying, "I will find you again." Daniel gasped and said, "What is this?" Eliana's voice trembled. "We were torn apart in another life. I've been waiting, lifetime after lifetime. Tonight is the only time you can remember. The garden brought you here." Daniel sat down on the soft grass. His mind raced. He didn't believe in past lives. And yet, this felt so real. The ache in his heart was so real. And he looked at her again. This time she was crying. And she said, "I tried to move on, but every time I looked at someone, I saw only you. I prayed you would find a garden." Daniel felt something strange, like a missing pieces of him was returning. His chest ached. He whispered, "Why don't I remember everything?" Eliana smiled gently and said, "Some memories are buried deep, but love always finds a way to grow again." They spent hours walking in the garden, With each steps, more memories came to Daniel. Memories he never knew. Their first kiss in the rain, dancing on the lantern, the way Eliana used to laugh when he was clumsy. Daniel felt flawed in his heart. It didn't make sense, but it felt so real. He held her hand. "What happens when the night ends?" Daniel asked. Eliana looked up at the moon and said, "When dawn comes, the garden disappears. You will forget again unless..." "Unless what?" Daniel asked. "Unless you choose to stay," Eliana replied. Daniel hesitated and said, "Stay in the garden?" Eliana nodded. "You won't age here. We can be here together, but you must leave the world behind. Behind everything, forever." His mind swelled. Could he live his new life? Was this real or a dream? He looked at Eliana. She waited silently, not begging, not pushing, just hoping. He thought of how lonely he had been, of how lost he felt before coming to Eldenbrook. And now, here was a woman who remembered loving him across time. And finally, Daniel made his choice. Daniel pulled Eliana close. "I want to remember every day. I want to love you again. I will stay." Eliana smiled for the first time. Light burst from the flowers. The garden glowed brighter than ever before. All around them, other forgotten lovers embraced too. The garden was alive with joy. The sun began to rise, but this time, the garden did not vanish. It stayed. People in the village woke to find the garden still blooming. They heard laughter, music, love songs on the wind. And Daniel? He was never seen again in the village. But some say if you walk to the edge of the forest on a full moon, you will see him smiling, painting flowers, holding the hand of a woman with stars in her eyes. Dear story lovers, we have come to the end of these magical stories. What are your thoughts, friends? What have you learned from the story? For me, love is powerful enough to cross time and memory. And finally, when love calls, never you be afraid to answer. What are your thoughts, friends? Kindly share at the comment section. Till I come your way again with magical stories. Don't go away. Bye-bye.